So yes, hello, welcome everyone. My name is Kelly. I'm going to be kind of your host today. I am one of the co-chairs for the Vancouver chapter for Women in Leadership. So myself and Maureen, one of our amazing coaches, are the co-chairs for Vancouver. I've been with Will for, I don't know, feels like many years now, longer than 5. And I've had the pleasure of meeting all these coaches before in other events. And their knowledge is just so expansive and so extensive. So please, any question you could throw at them, please do, like, get it all out there today. If anyone doesn't know anything about Will, please come to our website, have a look. We have lots of content, free events, blog, community. As you can see, we've been around for a very long time, and we operate in many different locations. I am today in the traditional Okanagan space, but I also know many are from Vancouver. So, I mean, we respect and acknowledge all the different areas. Anyone else? No, I don't have any more to admit. So I think I'll pass it off to do a brief introduction to our 3 coaches while we wait to see if anyone else is going to come online. So I think I will start with Maureen, just because she's a co-chair for Women in Leadership. Maureen, did you want to give us a brief introduction of all your amazing talents?
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. And I'm so pleased that everyone is here this evening or this afternoon. And here in Vancouver, of course, is the first day of spring. It's a beautiful sunny day. So that might be part of the reason we're having a little slow start, but that's great. I am really excited to be here. I've done this many times as a coach for speed career coaching. And I just wanted to let people know that we're interested in the questions that you have for us to help you with your career and any situations to help you move forward. So I am an executive and leadership certified coach. I am also a business coach. I have a Master's of Science in Financial Services and a Master of Science in Management and several other designations that I don't use anymore. But I have been helping empower, been an advocate of empowering women to advance themselves in the workplace, at their careers, and in their lives, because it's a work-life balance that we now all know about. For over 20 years, and here in Vancouver, I've assisted with a dozen different women's organizations, and I'm here to listen and to share, because when I work with my clients, I realize there are some things that they don't know. So that's how I can help them. I can help them also to stop making mistakes that I see other women and myself went through. And the areas that I'm going to suggest that you want to ask me questions about tonight is that I would like to talk about how to promote yourself so that you gain credibility and, more importantly, visibility inside the organization that you work for, or how do you get a job by using your credibility and visibility. So I will pass it over to Janice, because I love her topic also.
Thanks, Maureen. And thanks for joining us this afternoon. It is really beautiful and sunny here in Vancouver. I'm in North Vancouver. And yes, and I realize I haven't been out in it at all today. So there you go. I've been busy at my desk. My specialty is relationship marketing, and I use that as an umbrella over the 2 things that I do. The main thing that I teach, because my background is teaching, I was a school teacher and I was also a corporate trainer. But since I've been out on my own, which is several years, many years now, I teach people how to leverage LinkedIn. And whether you are a business owner or in a corporate career or a grad student or in a middle management position or just climbing the corporate ladder, it doesn't matter today. You need to have a professional presence on LinkedIn. And so that's one of the things that I would like to share with you today and help you with if your questions come around LinkedIn. So how can you leverage it to be more visible, to be more credible, and to connect with the right people in the world that you want to be in or are in. And my focus when I teach people about LinkedIn is always to first have an optimized profile, but my I guess USP, my unique selling proposition is really about building relationships. And so I feel as though it's all about the mailbox, the messaging strategies, and how you reach out to people and who you reach out to and how you build your connections on LinkedIn and help them work for you. And so I think about that. And I also, of course, do address the content as well on LinkedIn. But to me, that's a passive way of being visible on LinkedIn. But the real work is done in the trenches. It's in the mailbox. So that's my focus. And I also show people how to nurture relationships by with a product that I'm affiliated with, and that's all to do with sending cards and gifts and sort of standing out from the crowd, disrupting the norm of emails for everything or texts for everything. And so in my everyday business, I am using that and showing other people how to. I also have a podcast, and my podcast is called Relationships Rule. And that just speaks to the fact that I think I interview people who believe, as I do, that the value is in the people that you know, and that relationships are everything. So that's me in a nutshell. And so I hope you'll bring your LinkedIn questions to the breakout rooms, and please turn on your cameras. I so much want to see some faces. Thank you. Over to you, Vida.
Thanks, Janice. So thanks so much for everyone for coming today on such a beautiful sunny day. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm Vida Thomson. I'm a career coach and resume writer, and also a chartered professional in HR. And I started my company, Flourish Career Consulting, in 2017 after working in HR for about 10 years. And I started it so I can provide career coaching, including career planning and strategy coaching, career assessments, interview preparation services, and also career development. And I offer resume writing support to clients as well in multiple ways, including as a professional resume writer, where I work closely with clients to write their resumes and cover letters. Most recently, I also launched online resume writing and interview prep courses as well, as sort of an alternative option to the one-on-one coaching. And in the courses, I teach the strategies and techniques I've learned for resume writing and interview preparation through my years as an HR professional, coach, and resume writer. And today in the speed coaching sessions, I'm going to be talking a bit about resumes, cover letters, and interviews. I'm going to be sharing a few ideas and solutions to some of the most common problems job seekers face, just to kind of get things started. And then I want to hear from you. Any questions that you have about your resumes, about your cover letters and interviews, I want to hear those from you. So I'm looking forward to getting started. And that's it for me.
Amazing. So I hope everyone has an idea of those first big questions for these three amazing coaches. Just a side note, if anything comes up, I'll talk about what's going to happen over the next hour and a bit here. At any point, feel free to put a question in the chat, even if we're not at that moment. We will have lots of time at the end for Q&A. So always open anytime, just throw it in. We'll get to those if they're not answered. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to split everyone into breakout rooms. We're looking at about 15 minutes-ish per coach. So you'll get in a breakout room with one, you'll get a minute's notice, and then we're going to move you to the next one, and then the next one. So everyone gets that piece of time with each of the three coaches, and you'll just follow with your same breakout group is my goal. Hopefully Zoom doesn't mix us up, but if it does, we'll figure it out and reset, no problem. And then I'm going to bring everyone back together as a group at the end, and we're just going to have just open Q&A. Okay, assume no one has any questions. I'm just going to pause recording and put you in your first breakout room. So Anybody want to hands up, kick us off with a question? Camera on for bonus points. Yeah. You can also use the chat. Absolutely. Ask away, don't be shy.
That was very informative. Thank you so much. I really appreciated that. And I think, I guess my general question moving forward would be, given the fact that we're just coming out of the pandemic, that was actually one of the most interesting talks that we were having, is what is the best way to kind of navigate, conducting business, moving out of the pandemic and going to these in-person events or having virtual events? What is the best way for the panelists, in their opinion, to kind of approach these social situations moving forward?
Who wants to take that first? Vida, do you want to start and then move over to Janice?
Sure, I'll start. I think it's actually, we're in a great place now because we're kind of getting the best of both, because we can do the virtual, which is really flexible. And so, if people have like family commitments and things, then you can, so I think doing the virtual events is great. And then also taking the time to, and if you're not feeling comfortable and if you still haven't been to as many in person, just starting to slowly reintroduce yourself and then get back into those too, because the face-to-face connection is still really good as well. I mean, you get a lot from virtual, but face-to-face is something unique. So I definitely recommend doing both. And I think it's great that now people are so open to virtual now, whereas before we weren't. There's still going to be more and more of events like this, and it makes things much easier. So I think it's a good thing moving forward.
Definitely.
Well, I'll comment on that, because since I was doing mostly virtual even before COVID, but I don't know that I'm in a hurry to go to anything in person anymore. Honestly, I do all my business through LinkedIn. I meet people there. I make sure, though, that when I build those new relationships, I take them offline to a private Zoom call or a phone call or whatever that they feel comfortable with. And sometimes, if they're in the same city, I may go for coffee with somebody, but rarely, because it takes so much time to drive here and drive there and park and the money, and I can't be bothered anymore. So I really believe that virtual is here to stay. And look at this. I mean, we've got people from Australia, we're on my call, people from the States and Canada and, different places in it's just amazing. And I love that. So our world has broadened tremendously with this horrible thing that happened. But there you go. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
Maureen, any final thoughts to add there?
You're muted.
Good.
I was doing a lot of my work, or have been for a long time, virtually, but most of my volunteer work was face-to-face. And I like people. So I like to get dressed up, and I like to drive into the city, and I like to interact with people. I also find that the conversations that I get into face-to-face can often be deeper, just because you can see the person and you can follow what they're thinking. Not to say that you can't have great conversations on Zoom also, because I do that also, but I'm liking the hybrid world where you can do both. So that's where I'm a proponent of the hybrid world, I guess is what I'd say.
I love it.
No, that's great. Thank you. Anyone else? Live question or chat question? Must have been something that wasn't answered.
I was going to ask.
I had a.
Oh, good. There are two people.
I was gonna ask maybe for the executive versus, like, the difference between executive and kind of career coaches. because it's not always clear. There seems to be a distinction. I don't know if executive is just like more C-suite people and less so. And then what advice would you give in terms of if you want to kind of start that that work, how do you vet the coach to be able to figure out who, like, the good fit with the coach, especially if you don't have a very specific, like trying to do a more of a groundwork kind of exercise and not just addressing one specific leadership question?
Yeah, all these coaches are incredible. Maureen, do you want to take this to
I
start?
was going to let Vida do it
Okay.
first, because she does career strategies also. So it's a question we get all the time. Let me put it this way. It's not really clear. There's not boundaries and there's not ways to address it actually, but you go ahead. Share how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's kind of like the difference between career coaching and leadership coaching. So some career coaching is focused on the career transition, like you want a new career and how are you going to navigate that? And then leadership coaching is sort of the same thing, but how are you going to advance your career, right? So how am I getting my career to the next level? And that might mean going from individual contributor to manager. It might mean going from director to VP, right? So it's kind of the same thing at different levels. So executive coach might be more focused on sort of those higher level ones from director to VP, but it could also be even just like manager to director as well. And the focus of that is really, in my view, identifying, where are you seeing yourself going and starting to map out plans for yourself, identifying maybe some of the gaps in your experience and putting together a plan to how can you advance yourself to where you see yourself going. And a lot of things that Maureen was talking about as well, such as building visibility and your network and relationships to help get the support within your organization if you're looking to progress within your own organization, or if you're exploring outside other organizations as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah.
And somebody else was asking a question at the same time, I believe. Sorry, I couldn't tell.
That was me.
Oh, just you. Okay, go for it.
I was going to ask Janice if there was a similar type of question that was asked in all three sessions. So was there something that was interesting in LinkedIn that people wanted to know about?
I think there were a couple of questions around, what do I put on my banner, because people didn't know, so they didn't have it. But I think more importantly, it was about how do I do outreach? How do I talk to people I don't know, or what do I, what's the process for doing outreach? And so we tried to answer that a little bit. I mean, everybody has to start with a fully optimized profile because that's your first impression. And so that's the first impression people get of you. And by the way, I didn't say this, and this is probably a good place to say this, that, if you meet somebody for the first time, whether it's at an in-person event, or it's online, or it's through even a job interview or whatever, you're going to Google them, or they're going to Google you. So it always comes down to finding out more about people. And when they Google you, your LinkedIn profile, good or bad, will show up really highly on the first page of Google, because Google indexes LinkedIn very highly. So it always comes up high. So it's like one of those things that you're automatically going to have a look at. So you want that to be the best first impression for people, whether you're in a job or you're in business for yourself. It doesn't matter, because it's all about you stepping, moving forward, stepping up, climbing up the ladder, whatever it is. Keep current and keep first impressions going. So yeah, there wasn't anything else that jumped out at me that way. So there you go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm just going to dump in everyone's LinkedIn for our coaches into the chat in case somebody has not looked you up yet. For all three of you, now is your opportunity to make sure you connect. Right, we have just a few minutes left. Any other final questions before we move to wrap up?
Perhaps we could ask for some feedback. Maybe you'd like to tell us here at the Women in Leadership Foundation, did you find this session helpful for yourselves? Because we would like to spread the word and that we're here to help. And we would love to give you the opportunity to share with the other fabulous ladies here that are here about it. You did feel like you got some value from being here and even just being with all this fabulous group of talented women, including all the audience people. You're all professional and talented.
I thoroughly enjoyed this session. I thought that it was super informative and super fun. So thank you all so much for your time tonight. And yeah, just keep the conversations going. I think now is such a relevant time to keep these types of panel conversations going. So yeah, thank you so much.
I would second that. This is the first session webinar event that I've attended with WIL, and I found it super informative and very helpful. So again, I thank everyone on the panel and all of the participants. Great
Sherry,
job.
let's finish our conversation maybe another time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Janice. I have you on my list. I'm going to send you a note here in a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you.
It was great to meet everyone.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes, please do connect. And if anyone's just looking for connections, like drop your LinkedIn into the chat here and you know, start networking, right? Meet new people for sure. Okay, so in our last few minutes, I think I'll just quickly run through the coaches. There's that one thing you feel like you didn't get to say, or just that final quick little 1 minute summary. Let's do it now. So let's start with you, Vida.
Yeah, geez, I feel like I got a good chance to touch on a bit of everything with resumes and cover letters and interviews. I think just touching again with the interviews, the one key is the preparation side of things. So a lot of people get nervous and maybe don't prepare until it's too late, or they start preparing when they get the call for the interview, but the interview's tomorrow. So trying to get started ahead of time, thinking about, you know, the job postings you're going to interview for and having those answers be relevant, and practicing too, building your confidence. I think the preparation is probably one of the most important pieces. So that's probably the thing that I'd add.
So start preparing now if you're thinking of a job search. Don't wait till that last interview.
Exactly.
So true. Wonderful. Maureen, final thoughts?
I think that generally the questions I got asked were about leadership, management, and the imposter syndrome. So for the imposter syndrome, one of the tips that I give everybody who will listen to me and my clients, I make them do it, is track your accomplishments, track what you're doing on a regular basis. And I mean, so what we're looking for is we're looking for you to have a document or a book of all of the things that you've done, so that whenever you're having a bad day, you can look at this document and realize you actually accomplished all of these. You figured out these projects. You oversaw the 100 people who came to an event. You stood up in front of a group of 50 people and you talked about something. Whatever it is that you're doing in your role, you are accomplishing things every day. Too often I get women who say, well, it's just part of my job. Like, I'm just doing my job. You're not just doing your job. You're bringing yourself, your talents to that employer to get this job done. One of the most extreme experiences with me was I had a woman who's a senior accountant working for a large firm, and they were working on a contract with the US military for $250 million. And I said to her, how many accountants are on the team? And she looked at me puzzled. She was the only accountant working on the contract with all the numbers. Can you imagine? Like, she had no clue how special that was. She was the one who had to get all the numbers from all the other departments and everything and put it all together. I would have thought they would have had 5 different accountants on it. I was stunned, right? So that's not just doing your job. That is, I said, you need to get the copies of the articles that are being run in the newspaper about this contract that your company got. Just because you're not named in that article, it doesn't mean you were a major portion to making this happen. So claim it. This is the kind of work you do. So if you have that kind of access to, you do have access to people who say good things about the work that you do, and people who write things down for you to say what a great job you did. So collect them, put them all in one places, all your awards, all your, if you've been to school, all of that stuff. Keep it in one place, because they can't take your education away from you. They can't take what you've already done. And you will soon learn, well, hopefully you'll learn that you are a very talented professional every day, 24 hours a day. And the employers that you are working with you are very lucky to have you on their team.
Mhm.
That's so sweet, Maureen. Aw.
That's really, really
I
important.
love that.
It's really important. I think that was just brilliant. You know, may I just share a quick story?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Years ago, I used to do training for the telephone company, and I used to go to businesses and train their receptionists how to use our new phone systems that they just had purchased or whatever. And I would sit with them and I'd hear them all time after time. You know, if someone would call in and say, and she'd say, well, I'm just a receptionist. Do you know that even the receptionist is the very most important person in a company, because they're the first impression? And when they, you know, hopefully we've come a long way since then when I was doing that, but I don't know, because we're still hearing people say, well, I'm just this and I'm just that. And what you said, I just validate so much, because as women, we undervalue ourselves. And so if we're doing it, then other people are going to do it to us as well. And that book that you're telling people to collect all of those accolades and all that wonderful things that they do, get that on your LinkedIn profile too, because it's those little things, honestly, that if somebody really pays attention to your profile, then they're going to see the things down below, down at the bottom of your profile, where you speak 3 languages, or you taught piano from when you were 17 on, or, you know, whatever it is that rounds you out as a person as well is really gold, because you're very accomplished and you need to show that and not just put it under the table. So there you go.
Right.
Fantastic.
Thanks for that closing story. That's perfect. And big thank you to everyone for taking time out of your busy and important days, because yeah, your time is valuable, and don't forget that. Hope to see some faces again at another Will event. Please connect with our amazing coaches online. And yeah, thank you again from everyone at Will. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.